What's going on, everybody? This is Tommy Talks and the Chaz Man with the fourth episode of the Low Battery Smoke Detector panel. Today, we are going into the leaked Epstein emails and diving into all of the connections that were made along with Peter Thiel, the head of the former Israeli Prime Minister, and a bunch of other things. So we're going to be diving into each part of that and dissecting it piece by piece and giving our thoughts on that matter. And then we're going to delve from that topic directly into the Yemen bombing and killing of the entire cabinet, including the what is it? The Yemeni? How do you say that?
Yemenis.
The Yemenis, was it president, prime minister? What the fuck is he? The leader of
Prime
the fucking
Minister, I
the
was saying,
leader of
yeah.
Yemen. They fucking killed him. So we're gonna be going into all of those things. Um, so stay tuned, and yeah, let's dive right into it. Chazman's gonna take it away. He's got all of the content prepared, and yeah, you got anything else before we dive in?
Um, no, other than the fact that first thing I saw on Instagram when I opened it this morning was an advertisement for Holocaust Memorial. It was right after Israel like striked and killed a bunch of people in Gaza, and the first advertisement I see is, "Here's how we can get rid of anti-Semitism."
That's a big thing. You've seen this? They have like a new online hotline. I'm like, I
I
saw.
literally, first thing I wake up, I go on Instagram and see 83 people in Gaza killed by a strike. Literally, one more post, it's an advertisement, like from the Holocaust Memorial, how to combat anti-Semitism. Like, literally, right after the very next post, I almost threw my phone.
Yeah, they don't really. They do really good. They do a real good job of showing their irony in these. You know, kill 60 million people, pronounce 6 million dead in a Holocaust, and we talk about the Holocaust. They really show their hierarchy of where their
Weird. I mean,
their
they're throwing across all these accusations, calling everybody a Holocaust denier. It's like, you're a Holocaust denier, not me. Like, you're denying a Holocaust, not me. Crazy.
well,
Really crazy.
it's
They're
they don't.
they always accuse people.
Did I lose you?
For a second. I said, "No, they're always accusing people of doing the things that they're doing." I've noticed that. Like,
Isn't that rules for radicals? Accuse your enemy of what you are doing.
yeah, because then it sounds less credible when you get accused of it, I feel like.
And they do it on so many. Well, it's they've done this on so many forefronts. I mean, originally, you would see this a lot in the political atmosphere, like the closer to the center of the core of like, where all of the goyim and the right and left have their fights constantly. I feel like they're constantly doing that to each other to keep them stuck in a spiral without having to take the step out and look at the bigger picture of everything. But then you go to the bigger picture, and as you have all these people starting to notice this now, as information is being spread, it's like I feel like we're in the final countdown here of seeing of noticing. I mean, how much more is there to have been uncovered at this point? I mean, before they used to call them globalists or an oligarchy of people and elites, and now it's like we haven't really done that as much anymore. We're not very vague about who the players are in this game. So
Yeah.
let's get into one of the
I
big
feel like we
ones.
we really are, last thing I'm gonna say before we move on, but I feel like we really are getting to a point where very soon the consensus on 9/11 is that, people in positions of power in our own government were involved. And also the Mossad, and same thing with JFK. And I know that that is, I mean, everyone, that's like no shit to people like you and me, but I'm talking about like the national consensus in our country. I think we're getting to a point where that is going to be the consensus. Where if somebody says that's not what happened, our government didn't know about it. It nothing. That's not true. The plane, blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't an explosion, right? Larry Silverstein, Howard Lutnick didn't know about it. They're going to be the ones called conspiracy theorists. I think in 5 to 10 years from now, maybe even sooner.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's a yeah. I mean, and now we're about to talk about one of the biggest players involved in this because this is a this is a guy who's had. I mean, there's a reason they're not releasing the client list. There's a reason that something that went to the national stage was still covered up by the people that said they were originally going to bring it in after. This is so if we want to talk about key players involved in, you know, national tragedies and blackmail and making events happen when they shouldn't happen or whatever, this is one of the biggest of the big. So, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Anyways, yeah, one of the biggest players involved, none other than Peter Thiel, as seen in these emails. I've done a lot of I've been doing a lot of talking about Peter Thiel's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of people know about that, not as many as I mean, everyone should know about that, but unfortunately they don't. I already knew about Ehud Barak and Epstein, but the ties between Ehud Barak to Peter Thiel prior to these emails being leaked was completely unknown, or at least for the most part. Um, that's the big picture here is the new information about how Ehud Barak was closely associated with Peter Thiel directly. Because that's a pretty big deal. I mean, obviously the big part is that they were connected via Jeffrey Epstein, not just the fact that Peter Thiel and Ehud Barak were associated together. That's not the the crazy part. The crazy part is that they were associated via Jeffrey Epstein. That's the catch,
Yeah.
right? So, if you want to go into the chat, you want to pull up the
Documents have surfaced revealing startling details about the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, shedding new light on Epstein's global connections and his involvement in the surveillance industry. Leaked emails suggest that Epstein wasn't just a financier of secretive projects, but was actively seeking to shape the future of global security with the help of powerful figures. Following his arrest for sex crimes,
all right,
Epstein
pause
sought a
it.
new career path in the surveillance sector.
Rewind it 5 seconds.
Actively suggest that Epstein
Pause.
wasn't just
Look in the bottom. All right, so this is Mahmoud Barak to Jeffrey Epstein. Hi, Ehud. All right, June 6/9, June 9th, 2014. Hi, Ehud. I googled Peter Thiel. Seems to be a really interesting, smart, and active character. Did you meet him already? Best regards. So this obviously means that wait. Okay. So saying hi, Ehud. Okay, who formats an email like this, first of all? Second of all, I'm trying to so saying Epstein saying he Googled Peter Thiel. Is that Epstein? Is that Epstein
Why are they
telling
blocking
Ehud
out the
Barak?
fucking email? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Yeah, I know that, but
Like, we're not allowed to
that's
show his
just
name or something? Like, what the fuck?
to finance.
yeah.
Let's find the real
So
emails. You want to go and delve into the actual emails and not listen to these fucking
I think
cocksuckers?
this is I think this is what's released.
Of secretive projects, but was actively seeking to shape the future of global security with the help of powerful figures. Following his arrest for sex crimes, Epstein sought a new career path in the surveillance sector. In 2015, he partnered with Barak to invest in a security tech startup, Reporty Homeland Security, now known as Carbine. But this wasn't just about business. Epstein aimed to build connections with influential global figures. The leak of over 100,000 emails from former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak's inbox paints a picture of Jeffrey Epstein not just as a financier, but as someone eager to sit at the crossroads of private wealth and global surveillance. Among the revelations, Epstein was reportedly arranging a meeting with Peter Thiel, the PayPal co-founder and Palantir CEO, in 2014. Epstein even asked Barak to spend real time with Thiel to build further connections.
And moreover, it's
Okay.
extremely obvious to
And you
anyone who
can skip
watched.
past. I don't care to listen to Tucker Carlson. He just reiterates everything that was already talked about from people like us months ago.
Our
But
network.
okay, so yeah, that's confirming what I would have presumed to be true, which was Epstein. I got confused reading that email. It didn't make sense given the formats, but obviously I presumed that Epstein was the one who introduced Thiel to Ehud Barak, given the fact that Thiel and Epstein were associated in the early 2000s, given like when Epstein donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Valar Ventures, which by the way is the venture capital firm that JD Vance got a job at. So
So now
yeah, and
let's take
Ehud
a step.
Barak, I
Can
don't
we take a step
believe.
back from that though? Because we have like I just want to point this out. We'll probably end up getting into this and more clips. I just want to make this point though, and tell me what your thoughts are on this. But this is more of a theory of like if we look at Jeffrey Epstein and we look at the tactics that he used, like it wasn't about sex, it wasn't about anything other than blackmail and control of powerful figures. So why like again, so in this case, what is the incentive for them to is this the next step? Like is like this was something that I forget his name. He was someone that was on a very smart individual. I could probably find him. Curly hair, he's a Jew, good guy.
Better not be talking about me.
But he had basically said that the ring and everything that Epstein had built was not created to last past the age of the internet. After the internet came out, it would become astronomically more difficult to be able to hide and put off the the amount of connections that Epstein had had. And I
Yeah.
think they were building what this seems to me is that they were building their next tool, right? Before it was the sex rings with the
Oh yeah.
blackmail with that, but now it seems like they wanted to create a surveillance state to expand from Epstein's island to the entire world, this surveillance network, so that way they would have dirt on everybody. So that way no one would ever be able to step out of bounds unless they have zero skeletons in their closet, which I don't think anyone has zero skeletons in their closet. So, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, is that a
Yeah, that makes sense. I also, yeah, I mean, I don't think Epstein necessarily himself was very powerful. I think he was acting on behalf of other powerful individuals that kind of used him as like their their kind of like a weapon almost, or like a tool, like what you said. Um yeah, I think Epstein had a lot of influence, he had a lot of money. Um But I don't think that he himself was very powerful. I think that he was definitely controlled. Absolutely. I think they gave him a lot of money because they wanted everything to be in his name. They wanted, like given, with the island, the donations, the venture capitalists. Um, I think they wanted everything to be in that. Like some very high position individuals, I think, were behind Jeffrey Epstein, and they used him to do all these things. I don't think it was him. I don't think he was acting on like his own. Not that he didn't want to do any of this,
Mossad?
but well, I think it goes even beyond that actually. But yeah, absolutely,
Where does it
Mossad,
go? What do you think
100%.
when you say it goes beyond Mossad? Explain.
The Jewish oligarchs, these powerful, people like Miriam Adelson and Sheldon Adelson before he died.
But
People like Howard Lutnick, people like um Kushner family has more influence than you would think, maybe even more than Trump, which is insane given the fact that they're now one family. I don't even think that's a legitimate marriage, but
but isn't
um,
that all?
I'm
These are all devout Israel supporters who've put their loyalty in Israel specifically. Doesn't that tie right back
yeah, of
into
course.
their because at its
But it
core, the
does
only
that
thing that keeps Israel alive is their intelligence and their ability to bend people over with information that they threaten to release.
But yeah, but they don't. I mean, Jared, it's not like people like the Kushners and the Lut and Howard Lutnick want their names associated on with the Epstein files.
No, of course, I totally agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but you're saying it goes farther than
I I
you're saying
think
that no
that
matter
yeah, but
that from the Mossad point, because that branches out into so many different people with so much more money, that it's just a tentacle that's bigger than just this one specific strand. You're saying that let's not forget that just because Epstein's gone doesn't mean that the power is still there. Is that what you mean? Trying to
just
understand you.
because he's gone, yeah, I think yeah. I don't think that yeah, I would say that. The thing is I do think that they legitimately made multiple mistakes given the whole Jeffrey Epstein situation, and with Netanyahu and the genocide. I think they're making a lot of mistakes. I think they really are influential and they have great software intelligence, but I really don't think they're that smart. If they were super geniuses in all aspects, they would not have this Epstein situation would not be what it is today. There's no way, right? The thing with the genocide, right? It wouldn't be like you wouldn't have as many anti-Israel people in our country, right? They're making mistakes. They're messing up. Not just a little, they're messing up a lot. So they're very influential, they're very powerful, but they're not flawless. They're not super geniuses. They're fucking up big time.
Well,
They've
do you
fucked
think
up a
that this is
lot.
partly do you think that this is partly due to their on one hand we can look at it as carelessness and stupidity. On the other hand, we can also look at this as
Arrogance.
arrogance and overconfidence. Now the question is why
Absolutely.
what are they overconfident about?
They're overconfident about how dumb our country is and how blindly we support Israel. Absolutely. And I think that they look at the boomers, the Gen X, and just assume that their offsprings will be the same in terms of ignorance and stupidity, um, and just the inability to think critically, right? Like when you think about like a Gen X or a Boomer American, you think somebody that desperately strives to be politically correct, even if it means not being correct, right? That's what I think when I think of an American. I think somebody who cares so much about being politically correct that they don't even care about being right anymore. That's how I would define as your average American, especially over the age of 40. And I think that Israel sees that and they just say, "Oh, this is just going to be every American ever." And they overplayed their hand.
Yeah, I don't think and I'll disagree with you on that. I don't think that I think that you're underestimating these people and how powerful these people are. These are people that have survived
I'm
2000
not
years of
not
you know what I'm saying? Like we gotta really these are people that have been outed in over in over 100 countries and have still managed to maintain their culture and their practices and their beliefs. These are people that have in every situation managed to get themselves back into positions of power and have put a curtain over. I don't think that these people are as stupid as you think. I think that they have I think they have what would you call that? A card in their back pocket that they've yet to pull, and this may be one of the reasons. I mean, look at the way if you look at that picture of Epstein smiling in that mugshot, and then you look at a picture of Bibi Netanyahu, they got the same fucking face. Why are they so confident? They're still confident. What's the like? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like they still have yet to pull a card, and we're gonna find out very soon what that card is. But that's
Yeah.
a, I
Well,
mean,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of concern right now with I mean, you remember the leaked story where Trump apparently told Netanyahu, or no, it was a Jewish donor. He's like, "Hey, my people are starting to hate Israel."
yeah.
Dude, Netanyahu, he's gone on the PBD podcast. He went on Nelk Boys, and he's desperately trying to spread more misinformation. He's desperate. He's desperate. That's what desperation looks like. He knows they're messing up. They're going to. They have a big what I forget the name. They have a big problem right now, Israel. The problem is that Netanyahu is actually he's very powerful. I don't think he's the most powerful person in Israel, but he's one of the most powerful people in Israel.
Hmm.
Um, it's relatively known in Israel amongst and this is just my speculation, just using common sense. Um, that they kind of need to make an example of Netanyahu to regain some of the support from the people that are in the middle, right? People that are critical of Israel, but they don't know exactly what we should do. To regain support from those Americans, they have to make an example of Netanyahu, whether it's kicking him out of office, impeaching him, maybe even imprisoning him. I don't think they'll give him up to the ICC, right? They have to make, and then they replace him with a guy who is way better talking in front of cameras. I mean, Netanyahu's worse talking in front of cameras than I am. Like, he's really bad. I don't think he's smart. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. I think he's a horrible liar. He's a horrible liar. He's a horrible speaker. They need to replace him with someone who's a better liar, right? They need to make an example out of him.
You think he's a
However,
puppet in there?
Netanyahu doesn't. No, he's not. He is powerful, but he doesn't want that to happen. Netanyahu wants to stay in power, but the people below him are starting to realize like this can't happen. Like, not that it'll change. I don't think it'll change anything behind the scenes, but they need to make an example out of him to make it look like they're changing.
Well, let me ask you a
But
question. Like,
Netanyahu
isn't
doesn't
this the
want that
big
to
thing?
happen.
Like they talk about right now. Like you'll see it on the Tucker Carlson show. You'll see it on the Candace Owens show. You'll see it on uh, what's her name? Fucking Megyn Kelly's
Exactly.
show. They all
What are they
they
saying?
well they thread the needle and they say we are attacking Netanyahu's government, right? So like,
Exactly.
wouldn't you say like that just seems like puppet show behavior to target the puppet? Like that's the way I would look at it, not as like the same way that we have.
Well, it's yeah. Netanyahu's not a puppet. He's just not the most powerful person in Israel, and that's why people like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly are saying things like that. It's because they know the inevitable is most likely a worst case scenario for them if Netanyahu doesn't get forced out of office. He's getting old and he's going to be out one way or another. And then they can say like good riddance. Thank God we finally have a better, you get where I'm going with this. But
And then they continue with
yeah, they are threading the needle. You're correct.
yeah.
Yeah, but if Netanyahu was this much of a puppet, he would already be gone.
Well,
People don't like what he's doing. Zionists don't like what he's doing because it's kind of revealing their mask.
well, isn't that perfect though? You
They're in
create
a
the
power
perfect
struggle.
villain. I mean, but that's the isn't this exactly the wouldn't this be perfect for the show? You create the perfect villain, and then that perfect villain goes out and does all those horrific things that still benefit Israel. But then they remove him after he's done all those horrible things, and then it's like, we got a revenge. And everyone's happy because he's gone after he did everything that he needed to do as the villain needed to do. And then they can,
Yeah, yeah.
this is, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna look for like a Golda Meir 2.0, someone who's just as bad as Netanyahu, but appeared to be like better. Like a lot of people love Golda Meir. Like they think she's this amazing women's rights person, and then she was honestly probably outside Netanyahu the most brutal prime minister they've had. So
Yeah.
um yeah, they're probably yeah, that's what they're gonna do. But Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna look at so yeah, Peter Thiel could be very interesting. I'm flying to Europe. Um I Peter Thiel on the 19th in New York, if you like, as well as the former president of Maldives. Interesting. This is Ahood saying that to, or excuse me, Epstein saying that to Ahood.
Look at this.
Um, a lot of these are containing Peter Thiel, and yeah.
What do you think of this? So you can see here, this is actually from Jeffrey now.
Which part? Bottom part or the top?
The entire thing. 10 million amazed by the rate of technology
New
advancement.
military, like perspective on management, I think is corporations. Security is now a concern. Cybersecurity, of course. 2015. Security. A lot of typos. They even spelled Peter Thiel's name wrong in the email I just looked at.
Security of their brand, their personal, and
Maze
their information.
have had a technological focus in Israel for many years, mostly computation. Compute, yeah, now biology's genetic advances are changing the landscape faster than most can imagine. I feel privileged to be able to contribute some old methods to new industry. Hi Jeff, thanks for these guidelines. Doing nowadays, trying to decide. It's like fucking texting. Like if you were to like text your ex, what are you doing nowadays? Like who starts an email with that? First of all, fucking weirdo.
Well, this is a reply, so this is an ongoing conversation. We're only seeing this. This
Yeah, all about cybersecurity. All about cybersecurity.
but it's not.
The
That's a
intelligence.
shell term, obviously. You get what I mean?
True, true.
Why? Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I
Let's let's
mean,
let's break this down really quick, because now I'm gonna tie this into something else. So, what is if we think about when they want to come and take freedoms away from individuals? What is the number one way that they go about it every time? COVID, for
they're
example.
trying to take.
What was the umbrella terminology and basis of taking people's freedoms away? What was it? Safety, right? So you institute safety as the Trojan horse into getting what you want. As Thomas Jefferson wisely once said, if you choose safety over liberty, you'll get neither, right? So if we guys like look when they go for gun rights, it's the same terms. Oh well, we'd be much safer if we didn't have guns, even though it has nothing to do with whether or not it's fucking safe or not. And I'm gonna say a hot button point, which is that I don't care how many fucking kids get shot in the street. You're not taking my guns. You could suck a cock, because I would rather 100,000 kids get shot in the streets because of guns than have my entire country be ruled by a tyrannical government, and we might as well all be fucking dead. So now I look at something like this and I say, all right, why are they getting involved in cybersecurity? Obviously, it has nothing to do with cybersecurity, but the fact that they want to be in, and this is just from a point of view from my perspective as a person that builds websites and does this type of shit all the time. I have access to over 30 different client accounts. I have information that I could grab at any moment and use it against people, or take money from, or very confidential information. So whoever is the person that is entrusted as the cybersecurity individual also has those same keyholes to be able to go into that and take that information for themselves. So it makes a lot of sense to me that they would have such a major focus on cybersecurity, because then they would know the back doors to be able to go into all of that said information. So that makes perfect sense. Again, this
Yeah,
is the other
that's a
point that I was
major.
making.
That's a good. That's a good part of the reason why. Absolutely. But keep in mind, this is too.
Hold
All
on,
right.
hold on. You're cutting out.
So
You're cutting
this
out.
is.
You there? All right, you're good.
Yeah, so this is a decade ago, right? This is before Palantir, and I this may have even hold on. Um, yeah. Okay, so this is a year after, and some of the emails are from 2014. So Carbine was founded in 2014. It was originally called Roporty Homeland Security, and I believe that was in one of the emails. I can look it up in a second. But now Carbine was invested by Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein. This was known in many years back. Actually, Ehud Barak got mad at Daily Mail. He threatened to sue Daily Mail in 2019 for exposing him for it. Well, right? Never actually happened. Um, but so that's already known. And Carbine was founded in 2014. That's when these emails were taking place. Palantir obviously was founded in 2001, but it's gotten significantly more advanced within the last 10 years. So this is Palantir, Carbine are most likely what they're talking about in between the lines here. And because without to have as much power online as they do, they have to have the most advanced software intelligence. They have to have the most advanced um, databases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because this is 10 years ago, they didn't really have that then, but now.
Well, you could say like just from this conversation that Jeffrey sent, they definitely did, and I'll tell you why. So artificial intelligence at its core, computational power, what like you have to understand when he's saying I feel privileged to be able to contribute some old methods to a new industry, this is a very specific terminology because what that means. ChatGPT, the OpenAI, the way that we're doing things now with artificial intelligence, this technology is not new. That's what everyone's like confused about. Generative AI in the way that it's like its capabilities now is brand new and it's an industry as it exploded since that point. But this is technology that was based in the 1990s. The only difference was at that time period, the the on paper it was perfect. It worked. The issue was is we didn't have the technology or the hardware to be able to actually put it into fruition. Like we couldn't do it. We just didn't have the GPUs that we have today. We didn't have the processors that we have today. We didn't have the software that we have today. So but they had taken this old technology and they brought it to the forefront that was already on paper working and they had tested and they were able to get legitimate results from, but just basically we're like, this is not we don't see this going anywhere. So they dropped it. Now they brought it back. And that's why, like, from when I look at this, the fact that they're talking about this in 2015, you have to understand, ChatGPT didn't come out till 2022. Now, it wasn't the only group of people that were doing this, but it still goes to the point of like they had this tech, like they were working on this same technology all the way back in 2015, right when Sam Altman, right when all of the rest of them were doing this. So if we were to say like, okay, they don't have they have the technology now, they already have it. Like, and that's the thing that I find fucking funny about everyone in the news and everyone talking about this. It's like they're saying, oh well, when they get the technology, when they finally get there, no, they have it right now and they can just and they're probably like and this is the other thing that everyone seems to just avoid talking about and has some issue with in saying, especially on the right side of the spectrum, which is that we had Elon Musk go through all of our fucking data, every piece of information to find fraud and abuse. Evidently, we didn't get rid of any fraud and abuse, but we did at that same level, in that same token, have all of Peter Thiel's guys go in there and infiltrate all of those same networks and take all of that data. So now it's like maybe the liberals had a fucking point in saying we don't want Elon Musk in our shit because this is where we're at now. So that's all I got to say about that. I don't I mean, you get what I mean? Like this is
Yeah.
not. It's not that this is. They're not. These people are. These are seasoned veterans and they're phenomenal. Like if we're just looking at perspectives, like these are people that are phenomenal at seeing the way that the market moves, predicting where it's going to go, and then capitalizing and abusing the people that weren't there before. Like they will get there first, and they'll be at the top of the hill with a bow and arrow, waiting to shoot you on your way up. Like that's how these people operate every single time. They're one step ahead because they control information, they control what we read and where our heads are at, and where the political conversation is right now. So I don't think that they're like this isn't. They're here. They got it. They're in. Now it's about acceptance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's when I go to my other end of it is like, which why tie it back to it, which is like, why would they be allowing and why would they be so bombastic about allowing people on social media platforms to be becoming as awake as they are right now about these things if they don't have a card in their back pocket, which this may be that card in their back pocket. Like, just wait, guys. You stupid goyim. Fucking keep talking. So,
Donald Trump is such a good president for Israel. If it
listen
weren't
up,
for
left-wing
Israel,
scum.
if it weren't for United States funds to Israel, we would be having another Holocaust.
We need another fucking crusade. That's what we
It's
need.
Hamas. Hamas is stealing the aid. Hamas, they use the hospitals as human shields. They're using them as human shields. I mean, don't you
Oh
understand?
yeah, you do have a good Jew. Fucking, I could feel. All right. Do we want to keep
Oy,
playing? Is there
oy
more to play in
vey.
this, or do we? Is this one good?
Um, no, we can move on. But yeah, last thing I'm gonna say, is it's just crazy how people continue to just ignore. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, Jeffrey Epstein, Ehud Barak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carbine, Israel, Israel, Epstein, Ehud Barak, Peter Thiel, fucking Palantir, Valar Ventures, J.D. Vance, Alex Karp. Alex Karp supports Kamala Harris. Peter Thiel supports J.D. Vance. I really don't understand how people can be so naive and stupid to the point where they're not even like thinking about it or even know like eh, it's really crazy. But I do think we're winning the PR war. And what you said about the having like um having what I forgot the term you used, but
The card?
like having a secret, yeah, a card. Like I think that was Carl. I don't know why I can't say Carlson. Tucker, is being like kind of like the super critic of Israel, and then saying, "Oh, but they're still our ally. We just don't like Netanyahu." Or Charlie Kirk with his fucking focus group.
Oh my God, that was wild.
Yeah, and then his little fucking the Jewish guy in the corner. But
So
make
can we
sure,
drop the talk about Israel now, guys?
Can we all say we'll talk way less about Israel? We just don't have a puritanic view of the Netanyahu government.
What the fuck
Like
is that?
they're having
I'm pretty good with my words. I don't know what the fuck that even means. This is like where I go, I lose my mind. Like they talk about, they're like, there was a thing from Owen Schroyer and Alex Jones. They were talking, and Alex Jones comes in with this big piece of paper, and he's like, Owen, this is good news. They're having a grand jury trial for all the people that got locked up during January 6th. And Owen's like, oh, that's great. Can't wait to see where that goes. And then he's like, so if you want to report on it, you can. And then Owen's like, here's the thing. I want fucking arrests. I'm done with all this fucking talk. Like all of these hot like these massively long descriptive terminologies that we all use to that can be broken down into very simple things. Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck whoever that Jewish guy was.
I don't think he was
Puritanic
actually
view.
Jewish, but
Oh, he
what
definitely
I
was
what you know
Jewish.
what's something out maybe not actually, but at least spiritually.
In his heart.
Another thing, yeah. Um, all right. Yeah, so we're gonna move on to our next topic. All right. I'm gonna cut this part, but I have a thing in the top right of my screen that says my camera quality is a low frame rate. Do I look good to you?
You look great. Not in a gay way, but you know, fuck
All right. So let's talk about Yemen.
Okay, Yemen.
Yemen. Yeah, man.
Yemen. All right, hold on. Let me actually. All right, so you want me to fucking. Here, right. All right, so let's move on to the next topic now. We're gonna drop it there. We're gonna go into Yemen now with what, again, Israel had done, which was kill the Yemeni prime minister and his entire cabinet. So without further ado, let's jump right into that with the first video.
Yeah, I mean, 12 senior Houthi officials were confirmed killed.
All right, so I have everything from Jeffrey Epstein. I'm trying to find where the fuck. Where is it?
This is 10 hours ago. Nice.
Triumphing of the oppressed
Hey,
Palestinian
yeah,
people and their dear
sorry.
mujahideen, and in
We
response to the
survived.
crimes
Let's
of
go. I
genocide
love
and
this set.
starvation perpetrated by the Zionist enemy against our people in the Gaza Strip, and within the framework of the initial response to the Israeli aggression against our country, the missile force of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a qualitative, dual military operation using 2 ballistic missiles, one of which was a Palestine II. The multi-tipped fragmentation missile was used for the second time, and the other was a Zulfikar type. It targeted sensitive targets of the Israeli enemy in the occupied Jaffa area. The operation successfully achieved its objectives, thanks to Allah, and caused millions of usurping Zionists to rush to shelters, suspending airport operations. As the Islamic nation commemorates the birth of its prophet, who led it to honor, glory, and power, a man feared by its enemies, the criminal enemy is today committing the most heinous crime against 2 million Muslims in Gaza, the land of jihad and martyrdom, amid the silence and inaction of 2 billion Muslims. Whoever adheres to Islam and to the noble prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, will not stand idly by in the face of this genocidal crime. Victory for Gaza is a victory for religion, a victory for the nation, and a victory for humanity. Yemenis commemorate this blessed anniversary while standing in a position of jihad, support, and assistance until the aggression stops and the siege on Gaza is lifted, confident in Allah's victory, help, and guidance. The Yemeni armed forces affirm that the Israeli enemy will not enjoy security and stability, and that our operations will continue at an escalating pace during the coming period.
Wow, 19 employees. Okay, pause it. Go back 5 seconds. That eagle behind him looks very familiar, does it not?
Yes. Why do I not? Why am I not putting two and two together? What the fuck is that?
Rising eagle.
Uh,
It's pretty funny. Because that actually, I just looked it up. That's very close, almost the same, except the head. And then you look at Hezbollah. Hezbollah has they go like this to salute their leaders in
what
speeches.
this?
It's funny how
Is that?
Hezbollah, yeah, Hezbollah does that. They hold the flags like this. They literally hold it with their arms out like this and like grip it like it's actually really funny how they kind of mock the Israelis by having these little subtle um references to the Nazis. It's definitely intentional.
Well, hey, whatever gets their whatever gets them off. I can't. I mean, what has Israel said about it? So I've seen a lot of what they've said. I would like to know what is Israel's take on this, on what they did.
Well, they don't really need to lie necessarily because Yemen did start this by bombing their infrastructure. Now, it was obviously in response to the ongoing genocide. So, I mean, Israel did start it by fucking killing all the innocent people and journalists that they're killing, right? Um, but in terms of the strikes, Yemen did start the conflict, and I'm not a human
Hold on.
calculator, but it is very common.
Wait a minute. I'm not a human calculator.
Um,
But it is very
a lot of
common.
the time, Yemen does start the conflicts between the two of them, but only due to Israel breaking more international laws and killing more Palestinian civilians. So, despite Yemen starting the conflict, they only started it in response to the ongoing genocide, which Israel refuses to stop doing. Um, the Houthi elected prime minister was killed, but the leader of the Houthis is still alive. Verified that. I forgot his name. Abdul Malik Al Houthi. His name is, yeah. Um, yeah, they are still alive, so they still have the Houthis are very strong. I don't. Have you seen how they control the sea?
No. Uh, big enough. I know that how that they were good enough at what they did to be able to cause national media attention from Trump and them, if I'm not
Dude,
mistaken.
dude, the United States could barely. I mean, we barely defeated them. Like I know that we didn't go full throttle, but I mean, honestly, neither did they.
I think it's a fucking obvious. I think it's like the most. I don't understand how anyone like legitimately views these people as enemies. I get I get what they say, but it's like we are that much of a military force on these countries in comparison to us that they've posed such a little they pose such a little threat to us. Like yet
Don't post a threat.
they're but that's my but then you have to like take a step back and you're like, well, if it's not a threat to us, who is it a it's a threat to Israel. Oh, so that's why it's on the news. Like that's the only reason we're talking about this is because it's matters to Israel. We got to make it matter to the United States so that way they give us more money and they give us more funding and they give us more weapons and
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Yemen does not pose a threat on the United States. They killed
has Bibi Netanyahu made a
United
statement
States.
about this? I know you don't like hearing him, but I would definitely,
Probably. I don't it's not I
you know what
mean,
I mean?
if you want to listen to it, go ahead. I don't think
I
it's
think it's
worth it, but if you
important.
want to.
Well, I think it's
All
important
right,
because
you
you
can.
have to for me, and anyone could actually take this into consider. Like for me, I knew this is when I knew like I had a good grasp on things. Is when I realized that I could watch mainstream television and know and not know that they're not telling me the truth, but be able to see the predetermined conditioning that they're trying to get me to go down a path of, to see how they're going to manipulate me into doing something that previously I wouldn't have wanted to do. So that way, like I could watch people that are lying to me and know what their next step is. So like with this, like when you watch BB and you watch these people, you watch Epstein, you watch uh, JD Vance, you watch Trump and how they talk and they're the very small, subtle things. That's like where you're getting the real story from. Like that's how you can know, all right, they're trying to present this message, but obviously that's not what they're actually going to do. They're just fronting it that way so that way they can move forward here. So like I don't know, I think listening to Bibi and the Israel in general is pretty important because I mean, if anyone's going to be honest about what their objectives are, it's those people for the most part, other than the Greater Israel Project, which I'm pretty sure they've come out in the open about now, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I mean that pretty much.
Let's just see.
Just chilling. I'm
We do
looking.
a quick read right now. All right, so this is from 10 days ago, so we got to look this week.
All right.
Looks like he hasn't said a fucking word.
Not much, but that's
This
all I
happened 10
got.
hours ago, you said, right?
Most recent one, I don't think that he's made a statement since then, but
Since this
I
one.
just sent you one from.
Oh.
What does that say? I just sent one from 2 days ago.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
The Air
Pause
Force
it.
bombed a meeting.
Rewind all the way back. I'm gonna take a 30-second break. I just gotta use the bathroom.
Of
I'll be back as well.
Up, faggot. You look like you're about to fucking join a frat or like a golf tournament.
I like these fucking golf clothes, man. I didn't realize it how much I like these golf clothes until I realized everything I was wearing was golf attire, and I was like, I like this shit. I'm alright with it. All right.
I wear kind of like almost like feminine clothing, as you can see, but I also like to dress up like an Italian lobster or like it's like a fucking. I mean, I don't know if you go on my Instagram, you see my Montreal fit. That really nice orange dress shirt with my the long, like dude, I'll make an appearance. I'm colorful. Not colorful as in like black, but like colored, but you know.
It's in the term.
Okay.
Is it metro?
All right, get off
Metrosexual?
mute. We gotta restart.
Was it metrosexual?
What?
Is the term metrosexual, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm not really into that LGBTQ stuff like you, so.
A heterosexual man typically living in the city who is highly concerned with his personal appearance and grooming spends significant time and money on shopping for fashion and beauty
So gay.
Stay ahead of business threats.
No.
Do we want to just move on? I don't think we have to get into BB. Do you want to listen to BB? We want to move
You
on.
wanted to listen to him. I don't care, dude.
All right, fuck it. We'll listen to him for 5 seconds here, okay? All right.
Yeah, we can listen to him.
BB?
Actually, yeah, fuck it. It's
The
only I
Air
thought we
Force
waited.
bombed a meeting of senior leaders of the terror regime in Sana'a. At that very moment, they were watching a speech by the Houthi leader, Abdul Malik al-Houthi. In every
not speaking
speech,
English this
he
time.
threatens to strike Israel and wipe it out. Our military approach to targeting the Israeli enemy, whether with missiles, drones, or the naval blockade, is a continuous, steady, and escalating one.
Okay, so Netanyahu lied. Big surprise.
So Netanyahu just
Totally lied.
said the usual, did the usual, just fucking said nothing of importance. Fucking
No, nothing really.
yeah.
It's interesting how he didn't speak English, try to pander the American. He'll probably do at some point, but
When we go back to war with Iran, you'll hear
So
those speeches again.
there's a big reason why the Houthis are as powerful as they are. Why they're I'm gonna can you pull up the link I sent prior to that YouTube reel? All right. Yeah, so this is really important. So this is why the Houthis are as powerful as they are. This is why the United States military had a lot of problems with them. This is why they, even though Hezbollah is significantly weakened, the Hamas is pretty much non-existent, the Houthis are still very strong. Um, right there, where it has a picture of a boat, that's the Suez Canal, right? The Suez Canal is vital in um with cargo ships, military transports, everything, right? Because to get from the like North America or South America to anywhere east of Saudi Arabia, you have to go through the Suez Canal, or else you literally have to go underneath Argentina if you're on the west, and if you're in the east, then you have to go all the way underneath Africa, and it's a disaster, right? This is why they want to do the north. This is why we're trying to get a northern sea route, because Yemen hates us. They control the Suez Canal. It's not Egypt. The Houthis control the Suez Canal. So, and that entire coastline, right? That entire coastline, that's the Houthis. Have you ever watched Star Wars?
No, 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 no.
Fucking loser. Okay,
I'm the
never mind.
loser. Fucking.
You've never watched Star Wars.
A little bit, you know. I know it
You never
enough.
watched Star Wars, you're a loser. No. Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. They control that entire coastline. So even if you take out some of their structure, this or that, that entire coastline, think about that. You're kind of fucked if they don't like you,
Hmm.
right? So that's why the Houthis are strong. That's why they're powerful. That's why they are way more important than people realize. The Suez Canal is vital with transportation to every single country in the world, and Yemen's the only one who controls it.
What the fuck did
The
that have to
Houthis are
do
the
with
only
Star
one.
Wars?
I was gonna make okay, so basically the Sand People, um they control the coastline of that, like that big cliff where they pod race. And so if you're able to shoot a couple of them down, eventually if they don't like you, they'll shoot you and you'll lose the race, because they control the entire that entire like cliff on both sides. And you're just stuck in the middle just trying to get through. But they control the whole thing. They're just getting shot at because they don't like you. So you got to be nice to them. That's Yemen.
That makes sense.
Anakin, Anakin was liked by everybody. He won the race because the Sand People weren't shooting at him as much as they were shooting at the guys who owe them money in the pod race. And then he wins. He gets freed from slavery. Right, and the rest is history.
Good to go. All right. Perfect.
But all right, but does that make sense though with the Suez Canal?
No, yeah, totally. I mean, well, yeah, you have in the movie 300, there was a scene in the movie. It was right in the beginning, and it was the same thing that was the same tactic that was used at the beginning of the movie was the same tactic that was used in the basic premise of the movie, which is that they were inside a very short point of inside of a between two. It was within a ravine, and they're at the bottom of this. And in the beginning of the movie, he was getting fucking attacked by a tiger. So he had gone into this small little spot where you had a ravine, and the tiger could only attack him from one area. So the tiger had to go right at him. He couldn't come in from the sides. He could only go straight at him. And he was sitting there with a spear, ready to fucking hit him right in the face. Same thing happened in the core of the movie, which is that you had 300 men who were able to go up against thousands of people solely because of the fact that they were inside of one location. In order for them to attack this army, they had to face them head on, and they couldn't surround them. So in this case, again, it's like in the element of trade, and you want to move product and stuff like that. They have leverage. So it makes perfect sense. It's not about them being the biggest army, it's about them being a big enough problem for the Americans.
Fucking weird ass looking bug on my ceiling. Looks like a mayfly had a fucking baby with like, it's like a mayfly, but like way bigger. I was just making sure it's not like a spider or something. I would have had to kill it, but no, I heard everything you said. No, that's a pretty good analogy. Um, but yeah, I mean, like this is just another um outcome of Israel just being Jewish. No, I'm kidding. But no, this is just, I mean, did Yemen start the conflict? Yes, but I mean, you can't. We've had countries have taken over territories in war. In modern history, I can't think of an example of a country doing what Israel's doing, which is just come in. They already got a very unfair amount of land with the UN mandate. They made up a third of the population and got 65% of the land. After that happened, they took up even more land, 50% more land on top of that, and then go and say, hey, can we have a peace treaty with this land currently? Obviously, Palestine's going to say, fuck no. I mean, that's ridiculous. And say, okay, sorry. I mean, and then after they took up like 85% of Palestine, after already being awarded an unfairly amount, they needed even more on top of that. And then another preemptive strike. How many preemptive strikes? Every single time they start a war, it's always a preemptive strike. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like at a certain point, we just have to say these aren't preemptive strikes, right? Like maybe one or two of them, okay, fine, but all of them preemptive strikes, I'm not buying that. That's ridiculous.
But
The
that's their motto is
1970,
strike
the
first.
60s,
You
70s.
understand, right? Like that is their motto is to strike first.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
So
absolutely. The 67 war, they strike first. They took pretty much all of Palestine. I mean, yeah, and then commit genocide. The people in Gaza can't leave, right? This is not even close to Ukraine. Hamas has actually tried to make peace several times. They have tried to negotiate. The only reason they took hostages was to use it as leverage for a permanent ceasefire. Netanyahu's rejected a permanent ceasefire every single time, right?
yeah,
It's
they
the
really
complete
played
opposite
into
of
their fucking
Zelensky's.
hand. That was a wild, like, who, I don't know who fucking thought that was a good idea. Like they
Oh yeah,
don't
no, it's a
care about
terrible
their
idea.
own people. They do not give a fuck about their own people.
I would
They
agree.
care about the
I would
larger
agree.
Jewish objective, you
Are
know?
you talking about Israel or Hamas?
Well,
Oh,
I'm
Israel.
talking about I'm talking about
I think,
Israel,
I don't
but
think Hamas.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
I
Hamas.
don't think
This is the
Hamas is
issue,
good
and
either.
this is the point though, is like that the people from Hamas, Christians, Islam, like Muslims, we are people that look at each other and look at all humans as equal, right? We don't like have a hierarchy of life. Jews literally think that we're fucking animals. We are comparative to animals in their game. So if we gotta die for them to get their objectives, or if a couple Jews have to die in order to for them to achieve their objectives, they're fucking fine with that. And that's what you call a bias in negotiation, thinking that they're thinking exactly like you. No, these people don't care
Yeah.
about hostages. You just gave them the
I mean, no,
perfect fucking reason to
yeah,
kill all of your people, which is like, are they that stupid? Is Hamas really that stupid, or did they really just have no other choice? Because I
they're
don't
not
look at these
smart.
people
And
and
that's,
say like they did
they
something
had it.
wrong.
Yeah.
I think they did everything in their fucking power to get back their country. I would have done the same thing.
I think they thought, no, I wouldn't have done what they did on October 7th because I would have probably understood that that is not, when you're that much weaker than your opponent, you have no choice but to just play the peace route, because if Hamas just said, okay, we're gonna disarm and everything, and we are going to just say like, yep, we're not fighting anymore, we just want to keep the land we have now. Israel would get pissed. They genuinely would.
But the
Because
point
they're going
is
to be
that
like,
there is no
okay, how
peace
are
with
we?
these people, right? Like, I mean, for the most part, like
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It would make them be forced to either not do what they want to do, which is take the whole land, which probably they wouldn't do, or they would just have to go in and just kill them without an excuse, which like that. What I'm saying is like not giving them an excuse to do what they're doing now would actually help them. And that's why I think it was really dumb for them to do what they did on October 7th. I don't think they had the luxury to do that. I think they understand that. Um,
I'm an
but
American.
yeah, I
We're
mean, I don't
Americans. Our
think
our country was founded on revolution and rebellion. I don't think what they did was like. I mean, we went through the like on the boats on Christmas Day when we were supposed to be celebrating, right? Like everyone was supposed to be inside. We weren't supposed to be fighting, and we fucking went over and just took an entire um what was it? Not a battalion, a fucking what do you call whatever, a station. We'll just call it a station because I can't fucking think because I'm retarded right now. They took over an entire base. Yeah, that's the word. They took over an entire military base on Christmas Day. Like I think what they did was what they could have done. Could they have done something better, more tactfully? Probably. But at the end of the day, it's really what choice did they fucking have? I don't think what they did was that bad. In fact,
morally speaking, I would agree. I just think it was a
I
bad
think war
strategy.
is hell. I think war is hell. And if we're gonna fucking look at these people and say, like, I'm sick of the October. Oh, well, this happened on October 7th. Go fuck yourself. No babies were put in ovens. They shot people, and the majority of the people that were killed, everyone knows at this point now, was by Israel. They were
Not the
going
majority,
over.
but some of them.
Are you kidding me? They were fucking flying over with Apache helicopters, blowing up cars, killing their own people.
No, yeah. The official
Again, so it's
report
like
said that
for me, I look at this and it's like, all right, let's let them in. Let's let them have their
the
little gang
numbers might
gliders.
not be
Now let's
legitimate.
fucking
That's yeah.
let's kill a lot more. Let's really
Oh, absolutely. If you
let's
look
really make
at
this do the Jew.
if you look at, I'm pretty sure I brought this up before, but Egypt, who is actually an ally, maybe not anymore as much, but an ally, somewhat of an ally of Israel, definitely an ally of the United States, their intelligence claimed on October 9th, 2023, that they gave um notice to Netanyahu. They gave a warning to Netanyahu saying Hamas was planning something like a massive scale attack. And
Kind of like
they said
9/11.
that he ignored it completely. Yeah, Egypt said he ignored it completely. This is not like that's not a conspiracy theory. Like this is a fact. The Egyptian Intelligence Committee and of their government told Netanyahu 3 days prior to October 7th that that was going to happen, and he did. They said that they were. I'm quoting them because I remember this. They said they were shocked by his response, which was obviously nothing. I mean, I
This
mean, you
isn't
can
nor
look it up. Like I don't think.
this is not unusual though. This is every time that a terrible attack happens.
No, yeah,
There's
exactly,
always prior notices.
exactly.
That's what's fucking nuts. Is it's obvious like that these are orchestrated events that are purposely taking place because I mean these are also people just remember that that practice sacrifice. So like that's a big sacrifice for their fucking god Moloch or whatever.
This is a country who who voted in a prime minister that supported Hitler in World War II, right?
Who?
Yitzhak Shamir. So
What's his name? Bibi?
Shamir.
Oh, Shamir. Okay.
No, Yitzhak Shamir. Well, Bibi Netanyahu was Yitzhak Shamir's foreign minister of affairs. So he served in the cabinet of somebody who was pro-Hitler in World War II. Maybe not pro-Hitler, but he wanted to. He wrote a letter. Him and Abraham Stern, the leaders of the League, wrote a letter to Hitler asking to join the Axis because a lot of the Zionists at the time viewed the British as the main enemy of the Jews, not the Nazis. A lot of the Zionists, not all of them, but a lot of them, the right-wing Zionists, the majority of them viewed the British as the main enemy in World War II, not the Nazis.
Yeah.
And they have no problem voting in a Nazi sympathizer in Israel. Only Israel. If any other country did that, it would be all over the news. But the chosen people of Israel. All right, the transgender shooter. What was its fucking name?
Robert
Forgot.
Westman or something like that.
Robert Robin Westman. Robin Westman. So,
Is that no? It's Robert. It's a dude. Let's just fucking call a spade here. He's not a girl. It's a fucking man who called himself Robin. This guy's fucking mentally ill. There's something wrong in his brain. He thinks he's a fucking woman. Don't call him Robin. Fucking, I don't want to appease these people. I don't want them to have any. He should be it. Like, fuck that. It's not who. Oh, all right. Call him whatever you want, but I'm gonna fucking disgusting. Sorry. Sorry.
no, you're good. And you just can't call a spade a spade. You said that reminded me of that song.
Is
But
that a song?
anyways, bro, you wouldn't get it. Anyways, yeah, so odd time. I mean, an odd time for this to be going on, but it's annoying how everyone's talking about this trans shooting and not the Yemen-Israel war, not the Ehud Epstein emails, and not. I mean, no one's talking about Lebanon, which is insane to me, given how horribly that could go, and probably will. Everyone just wants to talk about the trans shooter. Um, apparently, so a person who was so anti-Semitic they drove past a synagogue and a rabbi's house specifically to target a Catholic school. Um, this happened in Minneapolis. The mayor's Jacob Frey. I think Jacob Frey is the worst mayor in the country. And yet the media focused more so on Ilhan Omar, when actually she represents her district, but who's responsible? It's the mayor. The mayor is the one who makes all of the right. The mayor is the one who's directly responsible, not the not the House representative. Their main area is in DC, in the not the legislative branch, the voting in policies. Right, the mayor is the one responsible the mayor's the one who's supposed to be equipped to handle something like a shooting, right? This is the same mayor that let BLM burn down Minneapolis. Remember that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I think it's pretty clear why they place the blame on Ilhan Omar. It's because they want her out of office because she doesn't support Israel. Look, back in the 50s, maybe not 50s, back in the 40s, she would probably be in the bottom 20% of Congress. Now it's probably top 5%, and that's honestly pretty sad. That's how bad our country is. That's how bad our government is. But I think it's pretty clear that they want to, right before midterms, they want to um, run a shit show story on her for something that is Jacob Frey's fault, and no one's talking about Jacob Frey. They only want to talk about Ilhan Omar. Fox News only wants to talk about Ilhan Omar. Well, they talk about Jacob Frey too, but not as much, which is very weird because Jacob Frey was all over Fox News during the Minneapolis burnings. This guy's horrible. Jacob Frey sucks. I don't know why anyone votes for him. This guy does not care about his own people. Um, and when all this happens, they just want to blame a House of Representative, which it doesn't make any sense. The mayor's the one responsible. Yeah, this
So,
whole you got a lot of trans shooters the last couple of years. A lot of these shooters have been transgender.
well, yeah, but see, this is still for me, I look at this whole thing and I say to myself, this was so perfect in the way that this was done, the video beforehand, the saving of the video, in the in this describing of like putting crossing every single check off of the board that would go against, like, that would be within the political sphere circle of against Donald Trump, and would put the liberals on the defensive and put the Republicans into an emotional state of anger, which is so perfect in its timing with all of these events that are happening around the world that should be at the forefront of being reported on, that aren't because of this case. And I go, like you just said with the synagogue thing again, like that's funny how that never happens to the Jews. It's always Christians, because again, it's like, is this just another form of sacrifice for these fucking people? You know, um, that it seems to me like this was set up. We know that they install people, and that there's a mass amount of people like that, when people need to die and we need to move the news cycle to something else for the next couple days, we're gonna set one of our sleeper cells off to go do our dirty work. And they've been doing this forever. And I don't think that this is different. I think this was done on purpose. I think they purposely let those kids die, and I think that it was so that way, just like you said, so that we didn't have to talk about anything that actually was important. Not saying that little Catholic children dying isn't important, but th- there's a there's an obvious attempt to get us emotional, and I refuse to allow them to make me emotional and forget what's actually important, which is our country. We should be at a level of competence at this point now with everything that's happened so far, to stop giving, like, to just, like, the fact that the debate is on whether or not trans people are mentally stable is like, they
Oh,
they
they're
don't
not.
know what
Yeah.
gender they are. They're not mentally stable. Are we fucking kidding me? Like, even participating in this debate is you should be ashamed, on the right or the left. If you're on the right and you're arguing about this, you should be ashamed of yourself. The fact that you are partaking in this conversation and playing this on a political playground after fucking Catholic children died, and you're refusing to look at anything else that's relevant in the world and focus on this, and this fucking obvious weirdo, goes to show that you deserve everything that's happened to you and that will happen to you, because if you're not going to wake up from this type of shit, then what the fuck will wake you up? That's where I come
Yeah.
in.
You want to know? Yeah, I mean, they care about the Catholic kids who die. Well, they don't. I don't think. You want to know an example of transgender people killing Christians is Gaza.
Who?
Maybe not transgenders, but like given all
Oh, the
the
same people
there actually are a decent
that,
amount of trans.
that promote that type of shit. Yeah. Right.
Well, no, they have a lot. I don't know. I don't think they have a lot of trans people in Israel, but they got a lot of gays in Israel.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
didn't know this? Hold on.
Oh yeah,
So, just so
I
you,
didn't know what.
oh, here. So this is a good thing that, hold on. So I'll just tell you real quick. What this is a really easy statistic. What is the LTQ plus? You're gonna be shocked. This is a real stat.
I think people in Israel should stop answering the surveys. It's not helping their cause. It is not helping their
15%.
cause.
All right, so it was found that in the Israeli Jewish population age 18 to 44, it was found that 11% of men and 15.2% of women self-reported attraction to the same gender.
That's a lot.
That It's fucking massive. All right, in Tel Aviv, it's
I
estimated about
really don't.
25% of the population is LGBTQ.
Oh, that.
These people are faggots. They love it. They promote it. They literally. I posted a famous clip of where it was a drag queen story show and it had Khomeini fucking dressed up as a drag guy and it's like only in Israel and it hands over to me and I'm like, your tax dollars are funding this, and they are. These people are
I
disgusting.
saw this guy on Twitter. I saw this guy on Twitter. Um, some like liberal chick asked him, and he's like a hardcore like redneck, and she goes, "Do you support Israel or Palestine?" And he goes, "Who's more tolerant to gays?" And she goes, "Israel, I guess." And then he goes, "Then Palestine."
Oh my
It's pretty
God.
funny.
That's fucking beautiful. Nicely done.
Dude, I know.
I
Dude,
said
it's
it.
so
I think I
funny.
said it on our first episode. I would literally rather have Sharia law than this Jewish fucking supremacy that we have right now with a bunch of these faggots running around.
Dude, I am not like a Muslim glazer, but who sets a better example for Christianity? Muslims in the country or I mean most of the Christians in our country, like including the fucking white chicks with the Bible verses in their Instagram story who probably go to church once every 5 years and don't like
But that's
you
my
get what I'm saying?
point. But
I'm
that's
not
my
saying
point. Well, this is my point
Muslims
though.
don't practice Christianity, but
But you just said it there right there though. That's a really good point. And this is something that we should like come to the forefront about, which is that we have been fed this lie that like we are living in a Christian society right now when we're not. We're living in Jewish society. Usury, gambling, pornography. All of these things are
I'm fine with gambling, but
well, you gotta to an extent.
I'm
But
going to disagree with you there because there's a lot of Italian influence with that, but
well, yeah,
everything else you
I
said,
mean,
yeah.
I get what you're saying, but it's all. My point is that we live in a we don't live in Christian society. These are not Christian morals. This is Jewish. This is a Jewish utopia for these people. So, and we're convinced somehow that it's a Christian society. So we've seen the difference between Jewish society and a Muslim society, and we align more with Muslims. Muslims came from us. Muslims, we like if you go down the line, it's Jews came first. Then there was a break off from the Jewish, and that's where the Jews went and killed Jesus, and we are Christians, and we became now we're believers in Christ. So the Jews stayed back here, we became Christians, and then from there you have Islam who believe that there was another prophet after Jesus, which is the prophet Muhammad, and that's where they fall. Like it, but and like we have way more in common with this guy who is a believer in Jesus and loves Jesus than these people who fucking killed him. So yeah, I would rather have Sharia than I would than to have this bullshit. And
I would agree. I would agree. I mean, I don't want Sharia law, but I would rather have it.
yeah,
Um,
if I was given the choice right now, like without a doubt, because it's not. At least I have a bunch of people that are going to be God fearing, God loving, God worshiping, people that have morals um at the highest level.
yeah,
Whereas
and you have a lot of people in Iran saying, hey, like, yeah, they're not perfect. They do oppress women sometimes. They're not very tolerant towards gays.
good.
Um, but it's actually but they say they it's it is a lie that gays get thrown off of rooftops left and right. There have been some public lynchings of gays, and there have been examples of oppression towards women, but it's not as much as the Western media says. Not even close. In fact,
But
most
here's the thing.
Iranians are saying that it's better than it was under the Shah.
But this is the other thing, though, as well, though. Like, this is the thing they don't talk about. All right, they're doing public lynchings of gays.
Not
That's
often,
because
but
they
yeah.
were participating in homosexual behavior in public in front of children. That's when it becomes a problem. And that's the other thing about these
Yeah.
people that I've had conversations with all of them about this. And every time I come to this final conclusion, it's what if I just say you can do whatever you want? I'm gonna let you do anything that you want within your own bedroom, and I put a pin in it and say, no, fuck you, you can't do this in front of children. Are you okay with that? None of them are. And you go, why? And it's because at its core, homosexual and degenerate behavior is not is spread through the traumatizing and pure shock of its exposure to other people. That's why when you have people, you have a bunch of these kids that get
Absolutely.
molested, they have such a high probability of becoming a faggot or not knowing what gender they are. Or, and I'm not meaning this in like a mean way, but that's what you are. If you don't know what gender you are, if you want to fuck the same gender, if you want to switch and swap, you're a faggot. And, you know, but it comes from brain damage. And
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like people mentally
this,
pure and
yeah.
not destroyed. Something went wrong.
I
If
don't
you get
have, yeah,
confused
I
and you're
think
not.
there's a I wouldn't group them all in the same category. I think there's a big difference between like the normal gays and then the gays with no testosterone that dress up like sluts and also the trans. And I don't I do think it's like, I mean, no one should get public. I know you're not saying that they should, but no one should get publicly lynched for being gay. However, my point was just that it's not happening anywhere near as much as what the Western media says. The United States government and media loves to play God on only when it benefits them, but then ignores a lot of other things. The Iranian government, they are not unstable at all. They do not oppress people as much as the Western media says, not even close. It's nowhere near as bad as Israel, and you have a lot of Iranians. Most Iranians say the Shah was worse, which completely goes against what the Western media says. But it's true, right? Because the Western media only hates dictatorships when it's not their dictators, when it's not our dictatorships. That's the only problem. That's the only time they have a problem with it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would agree. I do think we live in a Jewish society. All of this shit that we are being fed, the hookup culture, the porn, the dressing up like sluts, body shaming,
Faggot
pe-
behavior.
you know, transgenderism, like these were all started by Jewish people. And I mean, I don't like, I'm not saying all Jews are the problem. I actually think a good amount of the Jews in this country are good people. Which is weird because I feel like on average Jewish people in Israel are significantly more hostile than the ones here. Significantly. But
Yeah, but we have to come
I
to the
don't really
conclusion that
I'm tired.
these are tribalistic people. These are people that
Oh yeah.
they are
No, I'm
organized
aware.
minority. They're
But there
not,
is a difference.
and if
There is a yeah.
it's not people, it's the culture, right? So it's not a Jewish, it's not a like an individual Jew problem. It is a Jewish culture problem. These people group together no matter through thick and thin, no matter what they do. If someone gets caught raping or trying to solicit kids, like kids for sex, there will be a public defender there to bail him out and make sure he has his trip back to Israel.
That was
There will be um, cases where, you know, what is a hederiska? Why is that a thing? Do you know what a hederiska is?
nope.
Okay, so I'll just give a little lesson. So a hederiska is a banking document that a religious banking document that you can bring to a bank where you fill it out, you do it, you know, this is remember, this is primary and exclusionary only for Jewish people. Christians can't do this. And what it is when you fill out this hederiska, it allows you to get banking loans from the bank at a 0% interest rate, meaning that you can literally go to
Oh
the
yeah.
so so you have a what you are seeing is a complete and utter separate class of society. Now, if I tried to apply those same principles for myself with other Christians or other white people, I would go to jail. But Jews get away with this. So, at its core, and that's the other thing about this too, is that you see this with the black people and all of these other races as well. And I always go back to the same point, which is that I can say Mexican power, I could say black power, I could say Jewish power, but the second I say white power, that's when I'm a racist. And it's because this is a purposeful and specific attack on white people. Why? I don't fucking know. Other than that, when we are organized and when we do have a Christian nation, we put a stop to evil. And we don't look at what the Jewish people are doing right now as would be considered good. If anything, it would be considered fucking evil, and we would put a stop to it because that's what our Lord and Savior commands us to do. So,
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't consider anybody who supports Israel as Christian. I don't care how much they go to church. I don't care. They're not. You're
No.
defending not only just a genocide in general, but a genocide against Christians. A lot of Palestinians are Christian. There are a lot of Palestinian Christians. Jesus Christ was a Palestinian Christian, for fuck's sake. No one wants to talk about that. But there are a lot of Christians in Palestine. They're being genocided. Not that Christians are the only ones who matter, but if you're a Christian, you're not only defending genocide, but genocide against Christians. You're not, even if it wasn't Christians, you're still not Christian. It's unchristian either way. But the fact that it's a genocide against Christians as well makes it even more hypocritical.
Yeah,
And
and for me
you're not,
personally,
if you support Israel, you're not a Christian.
like for me personally, like I see some people that say like Jesus was white, Jesus was this, and for me, like I look at that and I go, like these are like for me, I always get lost in that because for me, I really if he was fucking I for when I was growing up, I thought Jesus was black. Now, granted, at that time period, I wasn't a big believer in God or anything like that, but my point is that I don't think like who gives a fuck? Like Jesus is supposed to be the one that goes beyond the pale of race, color, and creed, and then just sets by example in all of the things that are supposed to be good. You know, we're just noticing, like, we're just being race realists about these other things, but, you know,
Yeah. Race realists, pattern recognizers,
which is it, and that's
you
the, you know, that's the one thing that
know.
pisses me off about this more is that I don't know how they did it, man. How did they convince us to number one, allow our women to go off to work and fight for us? Like that by itself is fucking disgusting. But number two, how did they how did they convince us and condition us to remove our most natural, innate human um instinct of pattern recognition, right? This is innate. This is just who we are, like as people. And somehow they battered it out of us, like. And now it's like you have people that are waking up, and that's the thing about it too. Like I've heard like people say, like I've heard this like all through 2016 to 2020, like oh they're trying to start a race war between the blacks and the whites. And my point to it is like I don't think they. No, they're not. They're just trying to batter white people more and more and more because if they really wanted a race, they would never want a race war because the second that they would have that race war, now you have a bunch of white people that are recognizing that are becoming pattern recognizers, and you start recognizing patterns very quickly. You're going to narrow down the Jews, and again, those are the people that are in power right now that are causing the problems to
Good
begin
point.
with. So I don't think that's what they wanted either. I just think right now what's happening is we're getting closer to the end. They have some cards up their back pocket, and I think they're just putting it all on display, and they're kind of like I don't know why they don't care about us noticing, but we'll figure that out later, I guess. On that note, I
Yeah.
mean, is there anything else for this episode?
Yeah, Alex Goy. That's the last thing.
All right. So,
Boy of the year.
all right. So I've done.
Comeback boy of the year.
I don't think Alex is a bad guy. In fact, like when it through ninth, like Alex Jones was the original person that I like really got into politics with was Alex Jones.
I'm Troy. Mine was Owen Schroyer,
Yeah.
actually.
So
I told you
now,
about that.
don't get me wrong. I stand with Owen, like in what he did. Not to the extent of like I don't think he should have gone out the way he did and fucking publicly like do what he did with Alex. I think he was pre-predicting that Alex was going to do something similar because you got to understand Owen's been with Alex for 8 years. Owen has watched people come and go from the Alex Jones, like from the Infowars show. Alex is notorious for fucking trashing anyone that comes and goes. So if someone leaves, he will probably say something bad about them. Like it's just a weird thing that he does. So my thing on it is after the weird phone call that they had that I'm still waiting to get released, which I can't wait. It's gonna come out. It has to. It can't stay this long in private. Um, whatever happened on that phone call, there obviously was a misunderstanding in both sides of the spectrum. I think Owen kind of got scared and he was like, I got to fucking make my point now before Alex goes on his show tomorrow and does what I've seen him do to all of these other people. But to take a step back from the specific scenario there, and now to look at the political aspect of this and their disagreements, it's Alex has too much faith. Alex has connections inside the DOJ, and they think the DOJ is using him. They're using him like a fucking puppet. And as soon as he realizes that, you know, that's going to be a sad sight to see. But we have that combined with the fact that they're getting sued so much that they are virtually handicapped. They can't say or do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Not like they used to be able to
I
without a
think
lawsuit coming down on them.
there had to have been like some sort of special deal. I think they just wanted to make an example out of him. I really do. I mean, the Hook thing is worth looking into, but I don't think he should have jumped to the conclusion that he did. But a $1 billion lawsuit. That's. I mean, I'm a pre-law. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a pre-law student. That just doesn't make any sense, on the grounds that it really doesn't. I think they were waiting for him to jump to some sort of conclusion that they could file a defamation lawsuit, and that's what happened. And there has to be, I mean, had to have been something behind the scenes.
Well,
They
this
said,
is
hey, you need to
the
support
thing with
Trump,
Sandy
and
Hook specifically, though, is like this is like in all of his coverage of Sandy Hook, that was like 0.02% of like his entire. It was such a
yeah,
low.
I know.
It was so
Yeah,
small. I mean, it like in comparison to everything that he's ever
yeah,
talked about, and they blew that so far out of spectrum because they made a mistake. Like kinda, not really. In fact, Alex was kind of right about the whole thing from the get-go, even though they say he's wrong in it. And I'm not gonna say like everything there, but there's a lot of like I've watched enough
for a
of that
couple, yeah,
fucking well, yeah. I mean, why are they eating donuts outside of a place where there's a school shooting? Yeah,
yeah.
so just look that up, guys, because that's one that we
It
might get
was
banned for
weird.
that, but that's a real thing, and that actually happened, and it's the same type of smoking gun like you have with the dancing Israelis, like just weird shit that doesn't make sense. Oh, and what about all those photos with the metadata from Photoshop that was edited 5 days before the actual shooting took place? Oh, the one with all the kids running out and holding each other's hands as they exited the building? That one was Photoshop? Yeah. So that's a real thing that actually happened. Alex was talking about it, and no one else was because no one had the balls to, and they ran with it. And he had to basically. What else could he have done? He shouldn't have. Like my thing on it is this is where he fucked up, and this is where you can never ever give ground. And Trump is one of the best at
August,
this,
yeah,
which is apologizing. Never apologize. Never give in unless you're actually wrong. But if you know you're right, you stick to your guns, you
yeah,
stick to your gut, you stick to your mind, and you have a fucking belief in a higher power, and you forefront right through it, or else you're gonna get battered to the ground because these people won't give you a chance to breathe otherwise. So
yeah. I mean, like I do think I don't think he should have apologized. I think he should have said like, hey, I said something that maybe I jumped to a conclusion. However, I believe in most of which I said there. That's what I think he should have done. Um, I do think he jumped to a conclusion. And it was wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't really think we have the First Amendment. I know Trump is being very unconstitutional given the whole the FEMU Act,
the
making it
burning of the
possible to
American flag.
denaturalize citizenship, burning and the Israeli flag. I mean, Donald Trump hates the First
Wait.
Amendment.
And the Israeli flag?
You didn't know about that? Oh yeah, it's illegal too. I'm
No
not joking.
way. I don't believe you. There's no fucking shot. Pull it up. Your turn. That's something quick. I don't believe. If that's true, that's wild. I don't think there's no way that's true. They wouldn't
Am
have
I
put that
wrong?
vote. You definitely are wrong because that would be I would have known about that. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like the burning of the American flag was a they didn't if they threw the
Wrong?
Israeli flag in there, it would have been the perfect example of why you shouldn't have that as a law to begin with. You know what I mean? It doesn't work in their favor if they try to do that.
Believe it or not, last October, Howard, California, Christopher Husari, 36, sentenced to 364 days in jail and 2 years probation for burning the flag of Israel. Now, oh, they probably got him. Here's what I'm not going to read the rest. Or I am, but I'm going to make a prediction. They probably got him on an arson charge. They can kind of bend the courts the justice system, they can bend the law a little bit. They can probably argue like that's arson, you
Uh,
know?
so I went to college for criminal justice psychology. I majored in criminal justice. It's why I'm not didn't become a cop and I left and I dropped out of I dropped out of college was because of the fact that you can go to jail or be arrested for anything. They get to
Oh yeah.
decide. You are not free. You say the wrong thing, they will put you in jail. If you step out of bounds, you're going
They'll
to
find
jail.
something.
For anything. They don't have any like what they do with traffic and all that. Like this is all bullshit. It's they could be doing I get angry. Like this is the stuff that pisses me off about this because they say they're like we give so much support to these to our fellow police officers and I go, and I've talked to a bunch and some of them are good-hearted people, but the majority
Yeah.
of them are in a culture of like this very disgusting culture of like we are better than you. We have a class system that is
Yeah.
above you,
I
and
agree.
it's the same type of Jewish behavior that you see at the top of the echelon. We need to snap out of this. We need to start looking at each other as Americans again.
So what I'm reading is the IGO Anti-Boycott Act, House of Representative 867. The act could impose $1 million fines or even 20 years in prison. Um, Now let me see. This probably didn't get voted in. I think so. It doesn't. I'm looking.
We should prepare, by the way, just so you know, for the upcoming thing with Thomas Massey. When are they going back into session?
Yeah, they got him on arsenary. Yeah, exactly. Um. Oh, it was introduced in January. The Council of American Islamic Relations is making ads to vote against it, and that's half of the sources I have. No one's even. There's no sources on this. Did the Senate vote yet? Um, PDP when you need it. They haven't voted on it,
But
and
is
the
there a
House.
law that could be
Okay,
going into
the
effect then?
House. The House voted. Okay, the House voted against it. That's good. The House voted against it. Yeah, I mean, this was a bill that was supported by a lot of Republicans. It would have it would have sent you to jail potentially for up to 20 years for boycotting Israel. I'm not joking. The House voted
You
against
gotta
it, thank
copy this.
God.
I gotta post about this. This is fucking wild.
Like this is insane. This is insane. This is not a I know it didn't get passed, but the fact that you have a lot of representatives, specifically in the Republican Party, supporting this bill, that's absolutely insane. That should not exist. That should not exist. They should be in jail. They should be in
Correct.
jail.
Well,
I'm not kidding.
they shouldn't
It's
be in jail.
unconstitutional.
Well, of course it's
They should be in
unconstitutional.
jail. It's
But
treason.
but it's also in our Constitution, and I'm not pushing for this. I am just saying that it
I
is our
am.
duty that us as Americans are supposed to, when we have a government that is unconstitutional and is not working on behalf of the people, it is our duty to remove said government and replace them with a government that we see suffice to do the job that they're not currently doing. So
Randy Fine, Marco Rubio. What?
All right.
Randy Fine, at this rate, Randy Fine's gonna fucking die. There's no way he's Jewish, because I swear to God, that guy looks like he eats more bacon than anyone
Oh,
on
you're
the
talking about
planet.
the fat motherfucker.
He,
The guy that was talking about let him
dude, I
starve.
saw all the memes where it's, yeah, and it's like someone's been stealing the aid.
Oh my god. I saw a thing. It was like
Do you
I
think
think
he
that
could initiate a ceasefire? Do you think he could initiate a ceasefire by standing in the middle of them?
that was who the fuck said that? That little the you know who I'm talking about? That other fucking that dude that does that weird accent and he's like got the curly hair. He's like, you are a
Oh yeah, that's yeah, Matan. I think he's Jew.
Matan
I don't know if
Matan.
he's Jewish.
You Jewish fuck. Jewish fuck. Yeah, no, he went through this whole thing and he's like, do you think you could stop a ceasefire by sitting in the middle of
Yeah, it was that
Israel and
fat. It was
Palestine?
that is that like wannabe Biggie Smalls guy, but he's even fatter. Biggie's way fatter than Biggie Smalls was, and he like I remember he did freestyle and he got out of breath after like 9 words. Like that's sad. Like how do you get that fat?
Well, that's what and that's why he's on his way to become the next Biggie Smalls, because that's what they want: is fat, retarded, stupid, weak, gay.
Hey, don't talk bad about Biggie. Come on, bro.
Oh, I'm not saying Biggie
Uh,
specifically.
all
I'm
right,
saying
fair, fair.
big, like fucking. They're.
Oh
I'm saying they're making him the next Biggie Smalls, like the new Biggie Smalls, the new
no,
version of the Biggie. You're putting him in the limelight, the same type of limelight as the Biggie. Okay, you have Captain America in your head. Then they replace him with a black guy. All right, it's like you have Captain America and then you replace him with a faggot and put him in a Captain America suit, and now that's Captain America. Biggie Smalls, that fat fucker. You get what I'm saying? You get what I mean? All right,
anyway,
you want to close it? You want me to close it out
talking.
or what?
Where were we? Yeah.
All right. So that covers today's episode of the low battery smoke detector panel. Um, we're sorry we're fucking so tired right now. It obviously was very visible in our
We
noticing.
went through a lot.
But we hope you enjoyed, and if you have any comments or you have any ideas or you want to see us talk about anything specific, leave a comment in the description or in the down below. Follow us on Instagram, X, coming soon, and yeah, just support us any way you can. Share our stuff, clip our stuff, send it out to people.